Hi everyone, this is Leanne from the Medicine Hat Public Library. I know the times are a little bit tough right now and we're all trying to be a little bit more frugal with our budgets and what we're cooking at home and all that fun stuff. So today I wanted to share with you guys my family's secret chili recipe that got my family through hard times for generations. Now I don't know exactly where this recipe came from, but I do know that my grandma, Martha Flaig, would make it all the time, and it's been passed down to my mom and now to my sister and I. So I'm going to show you how I cook it. I'm going to talk about what I bought, where I bought it from, and how much it cost me, and we're just going to have some fun and cook. Okay, so there are 4 main parts to the chili recipe. The first one is ground beef. So this will probably be your most expensive item. I got all of my supplies over here from the Safeway by the mall. Right now I've had really good luck with finding stuff in stock there, but you can go to any grocery store like Walmart or whatever's closest to you and you should be able to find all of these there for a similar price. So the beef I got was just lean ground beef and it was $8.04. So we have an onion here. I got this onion for $1.21. Next comes the diced tomatoes and the tomato paste. So my 1 can of diced tomatoes was $1.99 and my tomato paste $2.69. The diced tomatoes were on sale, so I actually got 3 for that price. If you're just buying it on your own, it might be a little bit closer to $2. And then after we get our diced tomatoes, we need kidney beans. I have 2 cans of red kidney beans, but if there's a different kind of bean you prefer, you can totally add that in. These kidney beans were $1.69 each. And the rest of the stuff here are just spices that I have had at home already. This is just what I use. If there's stuff that you have lying around and you don't want to go out and buy spices, that's okay. Improvise and have some fun with it. Right here I have chili powder. I have ground cinnamon, dry mustard, cloves, nutmeg, sugar. The last thing we need is something to cook the chili in. You want to use a pot that's on the larger side. So I had a really good stewing pot, but the last time I made chili, I don't know what happened, but the bottom got all burned on it and it looked kind of freaky. So we're gonna improvise, and I'm just gonna use this big ceramic pot that I use to make casseroles in the oven and stuff, but it totally works cool and great for the stovetop. Altogether for my ingredients, not counting the spices, I paid $19.30. This recipe will make about 8 to 10 servings, so this actually equals out to about $2.19 a serving. We'll also have the recipe listed in this description bar down below on whatever you're watching this on. Alright, so now we've chopped our onion, we have our beef, and the first thing we have to do with this recipe is we have to brown the beef and the onions in a little bit of shortening. I usually don't use shortening just because it's not something that I use with a lot of other recipes, so I don't see the point in buying it. However, I'm just going to use margarine here, but if you have shortening or butter or whatever is in your house, that'll work. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to turn our stove about onto medium. We don't want it to be too hot right away or else it's going to burn the beef and the onion. Alright, so we're going to let the margarine melt in the pan for a second. When we see it starting to melt, we'll know it's time to add the beef. Okay, so we can see that it's starting to melt a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my beef. I'm going to wait for that to start cooking a little bit, and then I'm going to add my onion. I'm just slicing up the beef as it browns. We want to kind of separate it into nice little ground beef chunks. Turn a light on there so you can see me better. So I'm gonna add the onion now. And then, while the beef is cooking, I'm gonna start opening the diced tomato cans and the other stuff. Okay, so now that our beef is browned, our onions are starting to cook, everything's simmering nicely, we want to add our diced tomatoes and our tomato paste. You just kind of want to dump it in there and mix it up. It's okay if it looks a little runny right now because as the chili cooks, it's going to thicken. So next, this recipe calls for 6 ounces of tomato paste. This can here is about 13 ounces, so I'm only going to use half of this. I'm going to take the other half and just put it in the fridge and see if there's anything else that I can maybe use this in for a recipe this week. You don't need to worry about being super precise with this chili recipe. You can just eyeball it. And putting a little bit too much in is always better than not putting enough in. Now that that's in there, we're going to mix it up and just kind of let everything start to mix together. And now while that's cooking, we're gonna add our spices, which is the best part of this recipe. So I just have the standard set of measuring spoons here, and the first thing that we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna want to take a clear glass bowl because we're gonna mix all of our spices together, along with some sugar and a little bit of water, and then we're gonna put this mixture into the chili. It helps disperse the flavor a little bit easier and better than if we would just put them right in the chili directly. First, we're gonna put in 2 teaspoons of chili powder. Again, you don't really need to worry about being precise. Next up, we're gonna put half a teaspoon of dry mustard. I seem to have misplaced my half teaspoon, so I'm just gonna use a 1/4 teaspoon here and put that in twice. And then we're gonna wanna put in half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And then next, we're gonna put in half a teaspoon of nutmeg. We're gonna use some cloves. Again, we're gonna use about half a teaspoon. We're gonna put a teaspoon of just plain old white sugar in the mixture as well. This kind of helps give the chili its sweetness. The recipe also calls for salt, but I usually don't use it because we don't need it. However, you can add salt if you'd like. After we have all the spices, we're gonna put a 1/4 cup of water into our bowl. We're gonna take a fork, and we're just gonna kind of stir them together and combine them and try to get them evenly distributed. We're just gonna give our chili mixture a little bit of stir. And then we're gonna put our spices in. I usually use a rubber spatula just to make sure that I get everything in the chili. We'll just mix it up. And now the hard part is done. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna turn the heat down a little bit more just because I don't want to burn the bottom of the pan and I don't want the chili to cook too fast. We're gonna cover the chili. And then we're just gonna let it simmer for about 45 minutes to an hour, stirring it occasionally. I usually stir it about every like 5-10 minutes, but do whatever you feel like is best. I'm actually gonna turn the heat down just a little bit more. On my stove, a good simmer temperature is around 1 to 2. So now our chili has been simmering for about 45 minutes. Now the last thing you have to do when you're making this recipe is add some kidney beans. We want to add 2 cans of kidney beans or whatever other kind of bean that you like. And all of the different things that we've put in it are all going to combine and create what I think is one of the best chili recipes you're ever gonna have. And now we're gonna let it simmer for about another 10-15 minutes, and then our recipe is done. I'm still gonna check on it about every 5 minutes and stir it. Okay, so our chili is done. We've been cooking it for a little over an hour, I'd say. So what I'm gonna do right now is I am just gonna take it off the heat. With the chili, you wanna kinda let it stand at room temperature for a few minutes just to cool down, and it'll thicken a little bit too. All right, so our chili's done and the cats are excited about it. Hey, Coco. I like to have chili with a piece of toast and a little bit of cheddar cheese mixed in. Dunlop's pretty excited too. If you decided to make this chili recipe, or if you have another favorite recipe you'd like to share with us, or you'd like to see me try and make, let us know. You can find us as Medicine Hat Public Library on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I hope you have a great night. Bye.